Part 1, The Void Wastes. Captain Maria Santos pressed her forehead against the cold viewport, watching the twisted wreckage spin slowly against the star field. The dreadnought had been dead for 10,000 years, according to the Galactic Archive. Its hull was pockmarked with radiation burns, and entire sections had been sheared away by weapons that no longer existed in the known galaxy. It was beautiful. Fortune's folly to scavenger teams, Maria said into her comm, the Council says this whole sector is off limits. Cursed, haunted, bad juju, pick your superstition. Which means nobody's picked this place clean yet. Copy that, Captain, replied Chen from engineering. I'm reading power signatures deep in the core. Shouldn't be possible, but nothing's impossible when you're desperate enough to find out, Maria finished. She grinned. Suit up, people. We've got rent to pay and a galaxy that thinks we're too stupid to be afraid. The Galactic Council had discovered Earth 15 years ago. Humanity had been invited to join the grand community of civilized species with all the enthusiasm of a homeowners association welcoming the neighborhood's loudest family. The Council offered humans the same deal they offered everyone: follow the rules, respect the boundaries, and stay away from anything designated as prohibited. Humans, naturally, had other ideas. Part 2, What Fear Forgot. Maria's mag boots clanked against the dreadnought's hull as her team spread out across the massive ship. The interior was a maze of corridors built for beings 3 times human size, with doorways that yawned like cathedral arches. This is incredible, breathed Yuki, their Xenotech specialist. These power conduits are still active. Captain, this technology is from the predecessor war. The Council would lose their minds if they knew we were in here. The Council loses their minds about everything we do, Maria replied. Remember when we tried to salvage that crashed frigate on Kepler 442b? The VRWN ambassador said we were disturbing the honored dead. We gave them a proper burial and kept the engines. Everybody won. Everybody except the VRWN, Chen muttered. They got over it. The team pushed deeper into the ship, following Chen's readings toward the power source. Other species avoided derelicts like this for good reason: automated defense systems, unstable reactors, and biological hazards that could wipe out a boarding party in seconds. The Galactic Council had catalogued hundreds of species that had gone extinct trying to reclaim ancient technology. But humans had survived on a death world for millions of years by being too stubborn to know when to quit. They found the core chamber behind a door sealed with energy fields that shouldn't have existed anymore. Yuki worked her magic with a jury-rigged bypass, part human tech, part VRWN and salvage, part something she traded off a drunk Klaxian merchant, and the doors ground open with a sound like the universe sighing. Inside, a sphere of crystalline technology pulsed with pale blue light. Is that? Chen trailed off. A predecessor AI core, Yuki whispered. Captain, this is worth more than every salvage haul in human history combined. The Council would start a war over this. Maria studied the sphere, watching patterns of light cascade across its surface. Why is it still active? That's when the alarm started screaming. Part 3, The Awakening. Captain. Chen's voice cracked with panic. I'm reading massive power spikes across the entire void wastes. Every derelict in a 50 light-year radius just went active. The sphere pulsed brighter, and a voice filled Maria's helmet, ancient, cold, and terribly alive. Threat detected. Initiating final protocol. Purge sequence engaged. What did we do? Yuki grabbed Maria's arm. What did we activate? The answer came from the Fortune's folly. Captain, this is Bridge. You need to see this. Now. Maria's team sprinted back to their ship, magnetic boots barely keeping them attached to the hull. When she reached the bridge, the view screen showed a sight that made her blood freeze. Across the void wastes, dead ships were coming to life. Weapon systems that had slumbered for 10 millennia swiveled toward the populated sectors of the galaxy. Point defense grids activated. Engines that dwarfed Earth's moon began to glow. "It's a doomsday fleet," Maria said quietly. "The predecessors built an automated failsafe. If anyone ever tried to access their AI cores, they'd trigger a galaxy-wide purge," Chen finished. "Captain, those ships are targeting every major population center in Council space. Virwen Prime, the Claxian homeworlds, even Earth. We've got maybe 6 hours before they're in firing range." Maria stared at the awakening armada. Ships that could crack planets. Weapons that had ended the predecessor civilization. All because her crew had gone looking for salvage in a place everyone else was smart enough to avoid. The comm crackled with incoming transmissions from the Galactic Council. Hundreds of languages, all saying the same thing: panic. "Captain," Yuki said slowly. "I think I can interface with the core we found. Maybe shut it down, or at least delay the countdown. But I'd need to hardwire myself directly into predecessor technology. No one's ever done that and survived. No one's ever been stupid enough to try," Chen added. Maria made a decision that would define humanity's place in the galaxy forever. "Yuki, start your interface." "Chen, I need every working weapon system from every piece of junk we've salvaged in the last year. That VRWN and particle cannon we've borrowed, the Claxian mines we found on Titan, even those unstable fusion cores we were going to sell for parts. Captain, none of that tech is rated to work together. If we try to integrate it, it'll probably explode," Maria interrupted. "But here's what the Council never understood about humans: we've been surviving with broken, mismatched, jury-rigged equipment since we lived in caves. While they were following the manual, we were duct-taping solutions together and hoping for the best. Now call every human salvage crew in this sector. Tell them to bring everything they've got." "And tell them what, exactly?" Chen asked. Maria smiled grimly. "Tell them we're going to save the galaxy with their garbage." Part 4, Scavengers Gambit. The next 6 hours were chaos. 43 human salvage crews converged on the void wastes, each one bringing their personal collection of definitely not stolen technology. The Council watched in horror as humans began bolting together a fleet from parts that shouldn't exist, let alone work together. Captain Okoye arrived with a half-functional predecessor shield generator. The crew of the Bad Decision brought a weapon that fired miniature black holes, unstable, illegal, and perfect. A mining crew from the belt showed up with industrial drilling lasers that could punch through a planet's crust. "This is insane," breathed Counselor VRWN over the comm channel. "You cannot possibly believe this will work. None of these systems are compatible." "You're right," Maria replied, watching her crew weld a Claxian power core to a VRWN guidance system using Earth steel and sheer determination. "But you know what's great about incompatible systems? The Doomsday Fleet won't know how to defend against them either." While the Scavenger Armada took shape, Yuki worked in the predecessor core chamber. She'd hardwired herself into the AI using a combination of human neural interfaces and technology she'd literally made up on the spot. Her vital signs were erratic, but she was alive. And she was learning. "Captain," Yuki's voice was strange, layered with harmonics that shouldn't be human. "I can see the fleet's protocols. They're designed to purge any species that achieves predecessor-level AI integration. It's meant to prevent anyone from becoming as powerful as they were. Can you stop it?" "No. But I can slow it down. Buy you maybe an hour of engagement time before the fleet reaches firing range of populated worlds. After that." She paused. "Captain, if we survive this, the Council is going to realize that a human just successfully integrated with predecessor technology. They'll either worship us or fear us. One crisis at a time, Yuki. Just keep those ships moving slowly." The human fleet, if you could call it that, launched toward the Doomsday Armada. 27 ships built from spare parts, powered by technology they barely understood, crewed by salvagers who'd made careers out of going places they shouldn't. Against a fleet that had ended the most powerful civilization in galactic history. Part 5, Desperate Measures. The battle was ugly. The predecessor ships moved with calculated precision, their weapons cutting through space with surgical accuracy. By all rights, the human fleet should have been vaporized in the first 30 seconds. But humans didn't follow the rules of engagement that the Doomsday Fleet expected. Captain Okoye's ship performed a maneuver that violated 3 laws of physics, dodging a planet-killer beam while simultaneously ramming an unstable reactor into a predecessor cruiser's engine port. The explosion took out both ships, and Okoye's crew evacuated in escape pods made from recycled food storage containers. The bad decision lived up to its name by firing its black hole weapon at point-blank range, creating a gravitational anomaly that devoured 2 enemy dreadnoughts before collapsing into Hawking radiation. The crew survived with only minor existential dread. Maria's own ship dove into the gaps between enemy formations, places where coordinated AI fleets would never expect an attack, dropping Klaxian mines modified to detonate in chain reactions. Predecessor ships that had survived 10,000 years died to weapons held together with literal hope and improvisation. "Captain!" Chen shouted. "The fleet is adapting. They're learning our patterns. Then we stop having patterns." Maria yanked the controls hard, putting the Fortune's Folly into a spin that would have killed a crew trained in conventional tactics. Her salvagers, used to navigating debris fields and asteroid clusters, barely noticed. "All ships, new plan, we're doing that thing from the Beijing incident." "Captain, the Beijing incident was an accident." Okoye protested. "Yeah, but it worked. Do it anyway." Across the human fleet, captains made decisions that would make any military academy instructor weep. They fired weapons backward while flying forward. They used their own shields as weapons by overloading them near enemy hulls. They jettisoned cargo holds full of reactive materials and then shot them with mining lasers. It was chaos. It was reckless. It was the most human thing imaginable. And it was working.